What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Laser Source podcast. The Laser Source podcast is a special place. Wednesday through Sunday, it's home to Matt's mom's nudie cam, but it's Tuesday, which means that it's time for the number one podcast if you like granny cams, the Laser Source podcast. I'm joined by Matt and Kyle today, as always. What's up, guys? How you doing?
I was doing great. Yeah. Listen, Christmas presents got to get purchased one way or another. Granny cams are where it's at, I guess.
Speaking of which, you can get gift cards to Matt's mom's nude shows with the link down in the description. So make sure you check that out. If you're new to the show, I'm sorry. If you're not new to the show, welcome back.
Yeah, if you're new to the show, there's still a chance. You can just click the X.
If you're new to the show, I hope you know we're kidding.
Just shut it down. And
I think we should have my mom on one weekend or 1 week just to like respond to your shit.
Yeah, we should.
Like,
that'd be great.
She would come in here firing.
You know who Matt's mom really loves? Sponsor of our show, Johnson Plastics Plus. Mm-hmm. They are the number one place online to get laser blanks, a whole kind of assortment of machines for making, including not limited to sublimation machines. It's really big right now. I'm pretty close to pulling the trigger on one, dude. I'm not gonna lie. Kind of want one. Kind of wanna do it. Mostly for me to like do stuff, not really for the show. I just kind of like want to play with it. You make it look really easy. Like if Matt can do it, anyone can do it, right?
That is the absolute truth. Like if you can print a piece of paper and you can press a heat press, you're ready to go. That's it.
Well, Johnson Plastics Plus is the reason that we get to do this show for you guys. They've been unwavering in their support over the course of the last 2 years, and we're extremely grateful for them. So if you're looking for engraving blanks, materials, signage, stock, they've got it all. So make sure to check them out at jpplus.com. If you're feeling extra warm and loving, you can actually use our affiliate link down in the description. It supports the show at no cost to you, and you can save 15% off almost everything in the store with discount code YLRZDF. That's 15% off almost everything in the store. You still, I think, can get holiday ornaments in time for the holidays if you guys are pushing out some last minute stuff. It is December 9th, so this is probably the last week that I'm going to say that, but if you are trying to grab them, guys, head down to that affiliate link. Help support the show. YLRZDF, 15% off almost everything in the store over at jpplus.com. So thanks for sponsoring the show, guys. I've also,
that's how you get money.
So you get it. So for the first time ever, guys, I'm using show notes, which is great. I actually built out some show notes in advance of the show today, and one of my notes says, "Remind people to give us money." So I'm going to do that. We're trying to keep the lasers on, guys, and with the infrequent sponsorship exception, like Johnson Plastics Plus, which we just went through, bringing you tonight's episode, we're 100% viewer funded. 95% or more of our revenue is thanks to viewers and listeners like you, and we wouldn't be able to do this without you. So there's a few ways that you can help support the show. You can head over to the Laser Master Academy. It's the number one way to support the show. We've got forums, support forums, direct staff help. You can message. Like Kyle's on there literally 24/7. It's almost his entire job now. It's just like helping people through their problems over at the LMA. Thank you for doing that, Kyle. I know everybody really appreciates you, man. We've got exclusive videos and live streams, dozens and dozens, maybe 100 plus hours of like exclusive stuff that's over there, especially things that have been taken down from the YouTube channel over the course of the YouTube channel's life. Like if it's gotten taken down for some reason, it has stayed on the LMA. So there's actually like a big library of stuff that you can only get on the LMA over there if you're looking to do that. And there are a few other things coming to the LMA, which I will talk about a little later on in the show. But if that all sounds like a lot for you guys, we do have a Patreon and a coffee page as well. So if you just want to support the show and you don't want to get into the weeds, Patreon and coffee, great ways to support the show as well. You can find the links to those down in the description. So if you've learned something from us, consider joining. Your support keeps the lasers on. And don't forget, guys, if you have questions, we will be doing Q&A today. So you can throw your questions in chat. Kyle will be starring them as we go through the show today, and we'll swing around those. We'll swing back around to those in the second half of the show.
By the way, speaking of swinging around, John Uftring said, just make sure that link is not a Rickroll to Matt's Granny Cam show. Remember, it's not my Granny Cam show. It's Grandma's Granny Cam
I've
show.
actually set up a macro script, and it switches where that link goes depending on the day of the week. So some days you'll get the Granny Cam, and some days you'll be supporting the Laser Source podcast. Actually, I think the Granny Cam link is an affiliate link because I worked that out with Matt's mom in advance. So you're supporting the show either way, frankly.
Help us help you. You know?
Before we move on, Matt, would you like to walk us through live chat, man? Let's say hey,
yeah, man. Let's
everybody
see what we got here.
Live today.
Everybody was kind of taking bets. We were sitting here watching you guys bet on when we would start. Oh man, I think we should do like an over/under on that, and then just
dude. Occasionally we're backstage waiting for the show to start, and we'll like think about ways to like interfere with bets or like force winners. We didn't have time for that today, but that does happen occasionally.
It's all right. We'll get a betting pool, bet $100 on ourselves, and just make it work. All right.
Yeah, exactly.
So we got Mike C 8101. We got Cuban Cracked going on. What's going on, guys?
First and second. Good job,
I know.
guys.
Laura third this week. Man.
Laura.
She was taking her time. And then we got Michael. Hey, Michael's here. May the 4th be with me. That was pretty good. Ace the Pig got 5th. And then we got Gulf Coast. Richie, what's going on, man? Got 6th place over there. And then everybody just started kind of talking. We got Jack in the shop saying, hey, hey.
Hey,
what's going on, sir? We got Gus 3DUW. I'm here, but I can't count this high. This is pretty good. Into Marco, what's going on, man?
What up?
Glad to have you back. Directed Tech is here as usual. What's going on, dude? John Uftring, Ola, fellow campers. Let's see. My gosh, we got OC Laser. You guys are killing it tonight. Albros Whifdaff.
Yeah, good turnout, guys.
I know, right? We got Bo the Maker. That's cool. Then we got some douchebag named Laser Everything. Yeah, whatever. We'll keep rolling. Mrs. Laser Everything. She's a wonderful, beautiful person.
What a winner.
Then we got Sam 11747. What's going on, man? It's all downhill from 40, Alex. Yeah.
So can we just address that really quick, and then we'll continue down the line. Miranda's asking everybody to wish me a happy 40th tomorrow. I'm 35 tomorrow. Okay, everybody needs to calm down.
48.
I feel 58, but I'm 35 tomorrow.
Yeah. You look like a piece of shit that fell off of a turnip truck. I didn't even get there.
I'm not that fucking old yet. So everybody chill. All right, chill out.
Got it. Let's just count the wrinkles.
Man, if she thinks you're 40, I feel really old.
Yeah, damn.
Sorry. And then we got Alex Pugzoo here. We got Keith the Reg. I don't know. 87. What's going on, Keith? I know he's been here before. Then we got Keith Bordley right beneath them. And everybody's back to making fun of the fact that you look like a 62-year-old piece of garbage. Okay.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I'm old as shit.
You are what you
if you guys are here live, thanks for coming out. If you're not here live, you could join us live. It's Tuesdays at 9:00 at the Laser Everything channel. It's youtube.com/@LaserEverything. So join us for a live. They're fun. We love talking to you guys. Some housekeeping before we move on with the show today. The Ultimate Guide to Laser Processing is going private, guys. The Ultimate Guide to Laser Processing is going behind the paywall for our LMA members, Patreon members, and Coffee subscribers. I didn't want to do this, but once the installation and driver section is finished, future episodes will become exclusive to those platforms. It's tough times, and we need sustainable funding to keep quality content coming. YouTube is refusing to push out our long form content right now because of the shorts hype, and it's just not sustainable to continue uploading there. So we're hoping that we can funnel the people that actually need that content to those supporting platforms so that we can focus on continuing to make that content for the people that plan to consume it and need to consume it. So if you're new or you haven't supported us on one of those platforms before, join now so that you can follow along as new episodes air. Again, I'll continue publishing them on YouTube until we're through the kind of drivers and installation section. But this is content that I can't make it into shorts. I can't do I can't do the ultimate guide to laser processing as 60-second shorts. It doesn't work that way. And publishing them as full-length videos, which was my initial vision. You guys all remember the announcement trailer for it. I was stoked to like kind of make it free and like just let everybody have it on YouTube, but YouTube's just not pushing it. So we're going to go with an LMA exclusive on that to try to bolster support for what we do here. Because again, we are like 95% viewer funded. We really need you guys on that. So we'll be moving that over to the supporter platforms. I'll make more announcements on that as we continue down the line. Also, I want to touch on the roast beef, guys. This is bringing the heat. This is where we're going to roast your laser setups. I'm extending the deadline. We were initially going to do that today, but then we got like a ton of responses in Discord, and it seemed like people were really interested in it. So now final submissions are due before our December 23rd live episode. So if you want to make absolutely sure that we see it before we record the live, I'd say the hard deadline is Sunday, like I think it's the 21st, December 21st. So try to get them in by that Sunday so that we have 2 days, I think is fair to like go through all the submissions and check them out. I've also been thinking about doing maybe like some awards, like the ugliest or like the most dangerous or the prettiest, perhaps, you know, maybe we could even, I'll order some hoodies or something. We can give away some merch. We can talk about that off air, but
yeah, that'd be pretty dope.
I thought it'd be cool to like give away some prizes and just, you know, have a little extra fun with it.
I just got like Alex said my roast beef is ugly. Just put that on his shirt.
Gross.
It looks like a wizard sleeve.
If you don't, Jesus, Matt. If you don't know what we're talking about, we want you to show us your laser setups, the good, the bad, and the ugly. We're roasting your makerspace, the spaghetti cables, the sketchy vents, and the fire hazards. We want to see it all. So there's 2 places that you can submit right now. I have a thread on the Laser Master Academy in the updates and announcements section that's gotten no responses, none, which is crazy because the LMA is usually popping with that kind of stuff. So if you're on the LMA, you can drop your submission there. And then the thread on Discord. So in the Discord server, let me just make sure that I'm saying this right here. In the Discord server, we have under the trending category, it's called roast beef. And then you can create posts in there. And so you just create a new post, drop some pictures, and leave us some details. I want to hear some, like, I want to see, I guess I should say, some text along with your photo if you have the time. Things like your laser type, like what kind of lasers are you guys rocking? If your shop has like a name like the Man Cave or something stupid like that, like I want to hear that too. Anything notable, collectible, anything that shows kind of some of the personality of your space is what I want to see. So I'm really looking forward to this. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
I think that you should get some bonus points for naming the actual like your discussion. Like Gary the Pig has Beefy Boys Garage Workshop.
Yes, absolutely. Those are great. And if you have names for your lasers, that would be nice too. You know, you call one Celine and you kiss her when your wife's not home. Like, yeah, that's the kind of
this one right here is called the Mini Melanoma Maker.
That's true.
Right? That's mine.
Yeah, indeed.
Something about Anaconda over here. I don't know.
That's gross. So yeah, that's all I've got for that. So I'm really personally very excited. We've already got a lot to go through, maybe more than we can even handle in one episode. I'd love to see some LMA submissions, and there are a lot of you guys that are regulars that haven't submitted your setups yet. And if the regulars don't do it, but like these new guys do, there's a lot of names over here in the Discord that I don't recognize that are making submissions. I'm going to be very disappointed. So make sure you get those in. Again, hopefully by, I'd say the 21st would be a reasonable time frame for that.
That works.
Yeah. Yep. I don't know how much time you guys had to read the show notes before we started, but I pulled some interesting things that I thought were cool. I didn't even realize a new LightBurn came out. So that was December 3rd. New LightBurn. It looks like a patch release. We are on 2.0.05 now. Yeah, it's bug fixes only. There was a lot of stuff in regards to galvo units, rotary, SVG import was weird, things like that. So It was a good stability push, but I don't think there were any new notable features. Kyle usually stays on top of that. Were you following this update at all, Kyle?
I did not follow this update at all.
Yeah. Well, before this, we were on 20.0.04, which was we had that one for a long time, right? That was like a month.
That's been the main one. Yeah,
that's been the main one. So this looks like just a bug fixes update. If you guys have been using it, leave a comment in chat. Let me know what you guys think of it, because I'd like to hear how you think the performance is so far. I haven't used it. I haven't updated to it. And I actually just added the Mira 5S to LightBurn today. Rhiannon added the machine, so she must have just ignored the update notification, or LightBurn's been running for like 8 months without being closed. Which, do you guys do that? Do you guys just like, is LightBurn just perpetually running on your computers?
I don't know. And like, honestly, like my computer does so many random updates. So my thing is, I used to leave lasers on like these, but then like once you have so many of them going and you've got the different windows open, you've kind of like, I walk back and I'm like, wait, is this the right one? And yeah, like, I don't know. So I started turning everything off. But when I've got everything going, like I usually have like 4 different windows, but I've also got 4 monitors, and I kind of have like the split thing. So you guys have seen my setup. It's a nerd's paradise. So I usually have it split up, and then that way it literally says like CO2 Galvo, 300 mil, like whatever I'm running that time. So that's pretty much it. Like, by the way, I actually have to make some plaques tonight, so I'm going to do that while you guys are talking. That work?
Nice.
Word.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
Let me change my camera up.
I got some more details about the Glowforge reboot. So they are doing I think they've completed their restructure that we had talked about. Was it last episode we were talking about that, or the episode before? So if you don't remember, the Glowforge founders bought back a bunch of the assets, and I think they're down to about 20 staff now, and everything officially is still fully cloud locked despite the investors being gone. So if you, oh my God, Kyle fixed his camera. What up, boy? Dude, it's looking a little empty behind you there, man. What's going on over there?
It's a work in prog mess.
It's going though. It's going.
So is my heart.
That's fucked up, dude. So yeah, if there was any speculation that the founders might have like changed their ways, having gone through this process, I think we can put that to rest at this point. Everything seems to be exactly where it was when everything went down, and they show no signs of changing. So if you're still running a Glowforge and you listen to this episode, it might be time to start considering some more open hardware. Something to consider. Any thoughts on that, Kyle? You were a big talker on that one last time.
Well, it certainly seems like some of the worries are not something we have to worry about, but the fact that people haven't been stranded with, bookends to throw on their shelf is a relief for me. We don't, to be fair to the community and to the company, it's not something we typically recommend lately anyway, because of the horror stories of potentially getting cloud locked out of your hardware and it turning into essentially a pile of hardware that you can't use unless you're super technically inclined. So there aren't a lot of people in our community that we actively speak with that have this, but it was a concern. I don't want to see people get stranded with hardware they can't do anything with.
I know that not a lot of people that watch us on video have those machines, or maybe are even active in our communities have those machines. But I'm wondering if maybe the listeners might. We have a much broader range of people that listen to the show than people that watch. I think people that watch the show are like vastly, like it's European and North American for the most part. And they all are kind of in the same skill level and using the same kind of machines. But when I look across the board and we're, looking at telemetry and statistics on the podcast, I think we see a much wider range of people listening to the show. So I want to just make sure that we talk about it at least a little bit. If you don't recall, again, I don't think it was last episode. It might have been the episode before that one. We were talking about some custom firmware options that were available for those Glowforge machines. And so if you own one, I'd encourage you to look into it. Usually custom firmwares are not that difficult to install if you have even a little bit of like tech savviness. And of course, I'm still open to making content about that here. I don't have a Glowforge, so it's going to be difficult to actually like do it. But if we can provide resources or like a basic guide on the website, that's something I'm totally willing to do. So
my big thought is too, like, this is kind of like precursory to 3D printers. Like when you look at people who have like the Bamboo and all that kind of stuff, there's also a few other cloud-based ones like the Cloud Gwiki or like Gwik Cloud or whatever, Gwiki.
yeah.
And it's like, what are they doing? Are they going to be proactive because of this? Like, because this is a really important like learning situation for companies. Because it can, if this becomes a big thing news-wise as far as like laser users go, then what does that mean for the future of their company? And then, you know, I don't know, it just kind of makes me wonder, like gets a little nervous about the people who have those machines who are like ancillary, you know?
That's actually a really good segue into the next bullet I have up here about hybrid machines. Bamboo, one of the companies
Your mom's
you just
a hybrid
listed,
machine.
they've got the H2D coming, which is going to be like a laser engraving system built into one of their 3D printers, which, I mean, there's like myriad problems that come along with that. I hate that's like when people used to buy the TVs with the VCRs built in. You know what I'm talking about?
Sorry,
No,
I was just celebrating my burn. I was celebrating my burn on you.
Your burn was stupid. I'm running a show here. Piece of shit.
You mean the show that started with my mom's granny cam?
I didn't start your mom's granny business. She did.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, take it out on her. But like, I'm nervous that people are gonna buy this and be like, "Oh, Bamboo's making a laser," and then they're like putting themselves right back into like the same cloud locked situation that they're trying to leave with Glowforge, or maybe aren't even potentially aware that they're leaving. And when they could leave and get something better, they're gonna look at something like this and be like, well, it prints too. And I know it's not like our customer base. I just see stuff like this getting more popular, and it's really frustrating when we have so many great machines that I think are consumer level friendly that people could be moving to, and they're not going to get the same kind of business that these like software as a service companies are going to get.
You know what?
That's really frustrating.
That the company still has really good marketing, and that's what it is, like, because the marketing feeds into your algorithm. You get funneled toward them all day long. The more you watch it, the more it gets there, and then people get sucked into like the, oh, I gotta get it, oh, there's a sale, and they don't do their research, which is kind of what you're getting at. And so that's where you have so many options. And then, like, you know, for example, head over to the website, right? Like, we literally have the buying guide that kind of walks you through all that stuff. We have the videos to look at. And that's where, like, I mean, obviously, if you're here, you probably are doing your research. You are someone who is like trying to find stuff out. But if you're hearing this, do research, man. Like Alex is saying, there's so many different companies that we've already done extensive research on. And there's so many ways you can get it. Like, I know importing things is a little more difficult nowadays, a little more costly. You kind of can figure stuff out. But that's the other thing too, is like there's so many places who already have stateside items that you can just purchase through Amazon, right? And they're here in like 2 to 5 days because from a stateside warehouse. So absolutely agree. Lots of different
OC Laser said laser residue in your 3D printer. No thanks. Which
so I think even just from a platform standpoint, I have a problem with generating intentionally soot and smoke inside of a machine where I'm 3D printing stuff. But like, apparently some people don't have a problem with that. I just fundamentally don't think those two things mix.
I mean, I'm not the 3D printing expert, but am I wrong in thinking like, I mean, I feel like 3D printers need like clean room status to be like maximally functional.
You're coming from a resin 3D print standpoint, whereas I'm coming from an FDM, to be fair. So like resin, yeah, you don't want crap getting into your resin. FDM isn't as bad. Like, most of it is the motion system, and the other half of it is like if you're gumming up stuff because of like poor air movement, right? Like your lead screws and the lube on them is now just absorbing all the soot in the air, right?
I mean, even just like the nozzle and extruder, are they not like so sensitive to small changes or like blockages?
I don't actually
and
know if
things
those
like
get
that?
removed when you switch over to the diode head.
Interesting. You're assuming people are
I
like
don't know what
cleaning
the
it or
changeover
whatever.
process is.
Yeah, me neither. Directed Tech said I made a video about that combo a few months ago, so go check that out at Directed Tech's channel, guys. It's DIRECTED T3CH Directed Tech. So he's got a video on this. I made a video about that combo a few months ago. I have the H2D, but didn't want the laser version. So, I mean, and that's coming from somebody who does a lot more printing content than we do, for sure. So
the other problem I inherently have with it is that I can't tell you how often I get asked if people can laser this material or that material. Like that's probably one of the most common things with an asterisk there as a wild card for what the material is that we get.
yeah.
And when you combine two machines, people inherently want to laser the thing that they're making the other half of on that machine. But diode isn't particularly great with a lot of those materials. And particularly when it comes to something like ABS, for example, you're especially in the sense that you might be recycling that air back into your space. You're looking at, what is that, hydrogen chloride ABS gives off when you burn it? That's not something I want people inhaling. That sounds like a terrible idea, doesn't it? So I don't know.
I didn't even think about that angle, like the hazardous materials angle of it.
If you think about it from a new user perspective, right? Like just forget everything you know about what you do related to this industry. If you have a machine that does two things, a lot of people want to be able to do a project start to finish on it, and maybe that's making a 3D print and then laser engraving it, right?
Yeah.
So think about all the materials that you could put through a 3D printer from a spool, and think about the MSDS sheets that associate to those materials with burning that material. It's not the same as like the MSDS aspect of it from melting it, because like if you, for example, 3D print ASA, right? People who 3D print ASA all day get that like filmy residue on the inside of their enclosures. They have to like wipe everything down, and that's fine. But like, that's not the same thing as like burning something and then not properly exhausting it.
Yeah.
It's a little different when it deposits on the inside of your machine versus being suspended in the air until you inhale it.
I was gonna say, my big thing is I feel like whenever you get one machine that can do things, two things or three things, you just got one machine that doesn't work very well. Like,
well,
that's kind of
I think like there's the hazardous materials angle that Kyle's talking about. I when I added this to the list, I was thinking more of like the Swiss Army knife issue, and that it's like, is it like a jack of all trades situation? Like, are you getting a suboptimal 3D printer because it has a laser in it? That's what I want to know.
Well,
and
like, I'm thinking of like not even just like 3D printers, but think about CNC machines, right? Like, there's so many things that are like, because this is a gantry machine and it has like movable parts and all that, they're like, hey, it's kind of like when you buy like a really nice CNC machine and they're like, it also lasers, and you're like, does it though? Like,
yeah, I mean, CNCs are terrible lasers. They're not good. They barely get the job done. Ones that I've seen anyway, especially the ones that are like hacked together. Yeah, I mean,
and that, so to me, it's one of those things.
It's a fun science project, but it's not a productivity.
Right. And my thing is with 3D printing, I would agree to the same thing that like Kyle is saying, and what you had mentioned is like, you've got this machine that's made for A, but then it also throws in B as kind of like a gimmick almost. And so, and that's my worry about those kind of things. Like, for example, the CNC, the big issue is rigidity, right? Because they need to keep it light enough to ship. They need to do this, that, and the other for the laser. it needs to be fast, but you don't need fast with a CNC. You need like smooth and strong. That's what you need. And so it's just one of those things. And kind of like with the 3D printer, like you mentioned, having materials, like if you're doing stuff that's creating a lot of soot and like all kinds of like, smudging stuff, and then that's going to mess with all of the small little pieces that are inside. Like I look at my Bamboo X1 that I'm looking at right now, and there's so many things in there that can just get messed up. Like the extruders would be gummed up, and then now what? Because of soot and smoke and crud. So I don't know. I'm on the fence about it still.
The other thing that I'm worried about. Well, go ahead, Kyle, and then
I was just gonna say here's another for example, right? Like if you have two machines in one, you can only use one of them at a time. Now, what happens if you need to spend 18 hours 3D printing something, but you also have a job you have to diode engrave
to do for laser?
Or like another, for example, how long does it take you to change the machine over from one job to the next job if they're not the same job? If it takes you 45 minutes to change and reset up the machine so that it's doing the other task, how effective is that as a machine for you? I mean, if it's a craft machine, that's one thing because your time is your time. But if you're operating it as a business, now usually as a business owner or a business operator, your time is usually your limiting factor as to how much you can get done. It's rarely a situation of like you have all this free time in the world that you can spend switching stuff back and forth. And it's particularly more so the fact that you usually need access to your machines to do the things you need it done in a given time frame, not when you have the opportunity to switch it back and forth for a task.
Yeah.
So that's my concern.
Mine is still my main concern. It's still the like VHS problem, like the VCR problem. I feel like if like one thing goes, you're out everything. The whole thing is done. That was notorious for those CRT TVs, and I just like think about that all the time. Anytime anyone tries to put more than one thing in a thing, you know what I mean? Like, is that if you lose one, you're out at the whole thing. When you could have been like, oh, my 3D printer is broken, but I still have a laser. Oh, my TV's broken, but I still have the VCR, kind of a deal. I just would. I don't know. I don't like.
You're not 35.
Like combo stuff.
I agree with Jack in the shop. He's like 35 VCRs. This isn't mathin'.
VCRs were not that long ago.
Back in the 1900s.
Didn't start coming out until the early 2000s.
That's right. Digital video.
That's what I would say if I was also trying to gaslight a crowd.
Kids today still don't even know what came out in like 2001 on DVD.
Hello, fellow teenagers.
Like, what's optical media? Did you guys know Xtool has a Silicon Valley headquarters? Did you know that?
No.
I didn't know that
I thought
either.
They were in like Texas or something.
That sounds really expensive.
Yeah, it's new. It's a new Silicon Valley headquarters. Huh. They're doing like nationwide service rollout with a focus on support, education, and post-sale experience, according to the press report that I read. And that's big news. I feel like that's actually kind of huge news. They're like pulling the Nintendo. It's like Nintendo of America. We're gonna have like Xtool of America. Kind of crazy.
You know what? If it leads to a better customer service experience, and like one of the things about the Xtool machines, right, is that most of the machines don't have user changeable lenses. So yeah, that means you don't really have the ability to change your workspace. But what happens if you damage a lens? You have to ship it back to wherever the repair center is. Mm-hmm. If that headquarters is also a repair center, I could see huge value on turnaround time for down machines for people. Sure. That would be pretty major. So I know it's just speculation, but that does sound pretty cool.
Do you think that they're getting too big? Are you nervous they're gonna like be like, oh, we're gonna be greedy and turn into Glowforge and lock our machines behind like a cloud software as a service model or like something like that, or do you think that they're going to stay the course?
I think if they were going to lock something behind a paywall, it would be something premium like a vector
art
library, or something like that.
Not machine operation.
I mean, it would probably be something like their crazy AI conveyor belt alignment software that requires their cloud service to operate because they're running AI on their end, right? I feel like something like that maybe, but like basic operations where you're doing everything, including setup, and your only task is to just hit run and it runs, and there's no cloud computing required. I feel like that would be
They do
walk behind a paywall.
They do a lot better than a lot of other companies, but I wouldn't give Xtool 5 stars for their LightBurn support. Like,
I would give them half a star.
That's where my concerns come from. Do you see where I'm coming from? Like,
yeah.
Wouldn't it be easier to just drop that and fucking force people to Xtool Studio?
I think, and I will stand by this 100%. And if you disagree with me, I guess fight me. But at the end of the day, LightBurn, and I was having this discussion actually in Discord this week. LightBurn is not just a piece of software anymore. It's also a check mark on a marketing and sales list.
Yeah.
So when you're looking at a machine, if you know what LightBurn is and you read through a lot of discussion boards where people are using typical EasyCAD 2 machines or BSL board Galvos or Rowita machines or Troson machines or typical gantry machines, I guess, or K40s. LightBurn is a very widespread name that most people are aware of if you've read through more than 3 posts.
Mm-hmm.
So after hearing LightBurn so much and just how great it is, because it is great, it's turned into a marketing term, which is good for them, really. But I think saying that a laser is compatible with LightBurn, but you lose every feature, it borders on disingenuous. And yeah, you can't hold the fault in one hand for everybody, right? Because Xtool doesn't have control over what LightBurn integrates as features into LightBurn. So like maybe LightBurn doesn't want to deal with some kind of funky AI workflow for conveyor belts for the Xtool F1.
Sure.
Or F1 Ultra or whatever laser that's for. So like,
but I think we can all agree. I think we could all sit down, you, me, Matt, and everybody in chat right now. We could all sit down and agree. This is my active word there. Agree on a basic list of features that you would expect the hardware to be able to support, knowing what the software is capable of. And that should be good to your hardware.
Well, and I mean, people in chat are saying some good stuff. I don't know if you guys are keeping an eye on it.
Yeah, I'm glancing at it as we go kind of through.
Well,
here.
And that's where like OC Laser said, I didn't even get the hybrid epilogue because I almost run fiber at the same time as CO2. It's just double cha-ching, right? Yeah. So it's like it's not built for makers. When you look at that stuff, Geek of All Trades said Creality did that, and it is just like that. Subpar at all the things it did. It's just a niche thing to say that they did it. And also, to me, it's like, when I was a kid, and I mean, you guys probably had it too up north. Like, do you know when you went to the library and like they were having like the library at your school would have like hey, it's Christmas time. So there's like a market and you could just buy things for your mom or dad, you know, and you get like, I remember I bought my dad what I thought was like the dad tool of all dad tools. And it was like a hammer that was also a wrench, that was also a like pair of pliers, that was also like, you know, just like some bullshit thing.
Yeah.
And it was like, and I'm like, it's only $12. By the way, this was 1900 to $12. So you could actually buy a small car with that now, or probably a laser. And yeah. And then I took it home, and I remember thinking like, my dad is going to shit himself at the amazingness that I bought him. When he opened it, he's like, the fuck is this? Like the look on his face was that to me, like, and it's because like if you tried to actually hammer something with it, it's made of zinc, right? It's like it's gonna just shatter in your hand. And then it's like if you tried to actually pliers something with it, it's got an aluminum screw inside of it with like it's like twisted on with some glue capped like hex nut, you know. So that's kind of to me the point is like it if you want a tool, you get the tool, right? And then that's where Mike C said for the cost you could just buy one of each, you know, so you get rid of like having that little like specialty novelty item. And then John Uftring kind of had a good point. He was saying the benefit of CNC lasers is the size that's under laser, but however, you need to have a solid laser source and software that can actually take advantage of it. And that's where you run into a problem also, because it's cool that you've got this great tool, but like you guys are saying, LightBurn is what you need to make that thing sing. And they're just kind of like not talking to each other, or they do, but just speak in like a half language, you know?
Right.
So it's all of those things that you guys are saying. Everybody here is saying the same thing. And I think one thing too that was Hobbs had brought up, moving into like cost, right? The X Tool headquarters it's just a warehouse for them to store it. So they have an American warehouse, so they don't have to worry about like, you know, like made in America, put together in America, all that kind of stuff. And I think there's value to like seeing what they're doing here, because you're not wrong. Like they're playing the game. I think like it is one of those things for the current market and the current political situations going on in the world with trade from all the different countries, right? Like all the political stuff going on. It's almost easier just to build it over where it all comes from, have giant shipments, and then piece it all together here. And then now it's one of those things where they can slap an American flag on it and be like, we're an American company, you know.
There's
sure.
To be fair to that point too, there's also, when it comes to like tariffs and uncertainty on where that's going from week to week or month to month or year to year, there is actually a pretty significant benefit to having a company and location here, in that they can get their machines brought in and taxed potentially at a way different rate, and save a significant amount of money, which then reduces the cost for consumers and or increases their margins. So that's another aspect of it. But
well, yeah, I agree. I think that to me, it's not really because they're not dropping their prices really. I mean, they do on some of the older stuff, but like the whole thing is they can still charge the same price, but then their margins increase, which I think is what you're saying too, right?
Yeah, and that if they're going to end up having US based support or US based repairs or anything like that, that could go into subsidizing that cost potentially, but that's a whole different conversation and getting into world politics and business stuff that.
Well, at any rate, I see these machines doing well. I was looking at some market trends in preparation for tonight's show too, and there's like this massive demand right now for desktop CO2 and fiber units. I mean, it's just like massive. And by desktop, I mean truly desktop. I'm talking X-Tool F1, F2 sized machines that can do all these different things. And I don't know, man. It's a slippery slope. I wish we could sell more people on getting a real drill press instead of a Temu power drill, you know, but that's, I don't know.
Well, and so this goes back to that.
It's a weird side of the fence to be on. Well,
and that's where like looking at like the fact that you don't have to have the best of tools too. Like you've got Vever stuff, right? Vever or whatever it is. And you bought it for the shop and it's been great having those tools when you needed them. And you know,
but it's
because you're
also
doing like entry level stuff, right?
It's not a Vever power drill, you know. That's like I don't know. I'm getting, even if it's inexpensive, I'm not making if anything, that you're making my point. Like there are inexpensive items that are the real true version of the machine, despite being inexpensive, when there are much more expensive name brand, crappier copies of those machines that also do 800 other things. You know, the Vever drill press is super basic, but it's still a drill press.
Yeah.
You know, and it does the job a drill press is supposed to do. So
yeah, no, I'm with you on that. Like I would say those are the kind of things you need. Like you don't have to have the more expensive niche item. You can just get that cheaper thing, and I think that's a very valid thing. Like,
Yeah.
because I've made as much money, like, you know, my hats, like the hats would be the best thing, right? The heat presses, like for the Geonites and those kind of things, are like what, $600 and up for like their cheapest one, and then you've got the stuff that goes into easily the 2000s. You have the double heated platins, you've got this and that and the other. And the problem for me is, like you said, if that's what you're gonna go for business wise, hell yeah, go buy it and then just crank stuff out, because it's like buying the right laser. When you're making a product, that's like what we always preach, is get the laser that you need for the job that you need. And for us, and for most of us small business people who are just kind of making stuff, to me, that hat press has, I think I've made $1,000 with it, and it cost me $140 because I got like the package that came with a couple extra platins, you know.
Yeah.
So it's really, really worth it. I agree. I'm with you.
I just want to loop back. So John mentioned, without knowing the actual tariff structure, it's really hard to say, but made in China, stocked in the US is not going to avoid tariffs. I think what we're doing with that comment is combining what Matt said and what I said into one thing, and they're two different independent things. Matt is looking at it from like a sales perspective, right? Like, if it's made in the US, there's a kind of a thing that goes
There's
with
a market
things that are made in the US, right?
Yeah.
Whereas what I'm saying is, if you have an entity in the US and you're importing something from another country where you have an entity as well, you can declare the value very differently than the actual sales price of the machine, because what you're doing is you're importing your product, not selling it direct to a consumer that way. And your entity here is selling it direct to a consumer.
Sure.
So I'm not saying it's right, and I'm not saying I'm giving tax advice, but I'm telling you what a lot of companies consider when they're making business structures in the US.
Hey guys, welcome to the Laser Swords Podcast, the number one place where Kyle gives expert economic advice. Make sure you like
Indeed.
That's all he does. It's all he does.
Well, that's the news I was able to gather, guys. So I do want to get to questions today, but if we missed your thoughts on the news in chat, or you're listening to the after fact, or you're listening after the fact, wow, what a sentence. Drop us a comment, because comments really help the video get to people that want to watch it. So, it's all about engagement, and the more comments we get, it's very linear. The more comments we get, the more people see our live streams after the fact. So if we missed your thoughts, drop us a comment so we can check it out. I'd really be interested to see what you guys think about all this, because it does get pretty complicated. But that said, let's move on. We've got about 13 minutes.
Look at these little these are like the best little plaques, man. These are dope.
Yeah, the Gutties. It's a weird name. Weird name choice.
It's a gutter service that I've done some stuff for.
That's weird.
And they're doing like the Dundies. There you go. I can't even show up, but you guys saw it. But they're doing the Office. Like, they're kind of messing with it, and so they brought me the end caps of gutters. Like, don't be afraid to work with your people, man. Like, they brought me those, and is an easy like $100 basically. So work with your people.
Cool. Kyle, you want to take us through questions? We got 13 minutes. I saw we had at least a couple.
Yeah, let me dig through here. Ace says, here's a question for the group. I've got a red tumbler to do, and I'm spoiled with my galvo fiber and UV VA, the gantry, and the CO2, I guess.
Yeah. Sure.
How bad of an idea is UV for red tumbler? I know fiber is going to be painful. UV is probably going to be a little easier to work with on red, or a lot easier, actually, than fiber.
I don't think UV is going to give a shit. It's just going to be slow.
CO2 is going to spare way less.
Best way is the gantry CO2.
What's Gary's UV wattage? Do we know?
Don't know.
I don't know. What's your UV wattage, Gary? I think it would be fine. I can imagine doing it on my 5 watt. It would get it done. It's just going to be slow. It's not going to be super fast, because that's, I mean, especially on like thicker coats, but it'll do it. It's not going to care what the color is. I think the color is irrelevant with UV.
The other thing with UV too is you can actually burn off the powder coating even if you're a little out of focus. Like
Mhm.
it doesn't care so much. It's not as like if you're used to doing glassware on a UV, where if you're a little out of focus, like dear God, it's going to let you know it.
Yeah,
It's not the same thing with powder coat. It's a lot more forgiving.
sure.
And some people actually prefer to go out of focus for powder coat, just because it makes it way easier to, in some cases, burn off the powder coat and have a really nice, clean metal surface. That's
Yeah, there's a few benefits to that. I mean, even the larger spot size is going to save you on some interval there. So you're not going to have to, instead of doing like 100,000 lines, maybe you're going to do like 60,000 or something like that. I'm making numbers up, but you get what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
it should shorten your run times. Also, I would still exercise some caution. It is not CO2, and you will mark the metal with the UV if you are not paying attention to what you're doing. So it's not going to ablate it like the fiber would, at least not readily, unless you really, really mess things up. But you'll certainly mark it in a noticeable way. So just make sure you're paying attention to your power output there, and that energy density, which is really what's going to do you in on that. If you want that look, that's fine. It's probably not going to hurt anything. I don't think it's going to add to your
cool stuff that way.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to add to your corrosion risk, is what I'm kind of getting at. But
It'd be like a Neil underneath.
If you want that really clean silver brushed look that you get off of CO2, you're going to have to modify that energy density a little bit, because it is so focused on the UV. So you're going to have to play with that a little, I think.
I still think unless you're cranking out hundreds of them, and even then your CO2 gantry, it might still be the best bet, man. I literally just got done doing an order of 100 cups 2 weeks ago, I think it was. And the cups took 4.5 minutes, like 4 minutes and 45 seconds. And it was a 2.5-inch circle with a name underneath too. So like the text as well. So I think out of the 4.5 inches that was on the cup, it was probably like 3 total almost, or like about 3-ish. So, and it's one of those things, my line distance, I think was like 0.65, which for my machine and the steps, everything works out to where that's like a really nice, clean, smooth thing. So play with that, play with your line distance, play with your steps and all that kind of stuff. I don't play with steps, actually. Play with your line distance, because you can defocus a little bit. If it's like, look at the design, if it's a big chunky thing where it's just like the name of a company, or the logo isn't really intense, you can actually defocus a tiny bit and have a nice clean burn as well, and actually increase your line distance a little bit, so it shaves off seconds, but those seconds over the course of like a couple hundred saves you time too. My thoughts.
All right, 8 minutes. Keep rolling.
I want to do some engraving on AirPod cases. I've got settings for fiber more powerful than mine, a 60 watt compared to a 30. Would you suggest I start with slowing speed or boosting power? It depends on what your starting power is. Knowing that, well, I'm assuming you're referring to the ABS AirPod cases and not the crazy expensive new ones that come in a metal case, right?
I'm sure that's true.
Yeah. So you're probably pretty low power in terms of settings anyway. So I'm sure you could probably boost your power percent to accommodate the difference. So if a 60 watts, for example, calling for 40% power, and you have the same size lens as that machine, I would start it like just under double maybe the power percent, and that'll get you at least into the ballpark. I would aim a little low just to give yourself some headroom so you're not absolutely nuking it by accident, and then you can work your way up in power.
Do you always start with power, Kyle? I actually start with speed.
When it's a conversion like this, where I'm going from a 30 watt to a 60 watt, if they're like machines, then yeah, I would.
They're going 60 to 30.
Well, the other thing is, what's the source too? Because the frequency is that could fuck you up pretty bad with the settings you get. So just be mindful.
Well, that's why I start with speed, because I don't like if I mean, the frequency is probably going to have to change either way, but I feel like changing the speed causes less collateral damage when you're jumping wattages like that than changing the power does. But that's anecdotal. I can't prove that.
Yeah. There's also the laser parameter converter, which is what Gearant was saying.
It's true. You can find that on makearmy.io in the file server under utilities.
Just to get, like Kyle's always says, to get you in the ballpark.
Yeah. I think she has a JPT 30 watt because we were talking about a lot of her coins on LMA and Discord.
Yeah.
It says really cool stuff.
Yep.
So, oh yeah, she did say JPT. Okay. So, if you're referencing like the lasered episode where we did either the AirPod cases or the Galaxy pod cases, Galaxy Pro cases, whatever.
That's what I really wanted to mention. Yep. I think we have. Did we not do AirPods? We only did the Galaxy pods. I swore we did AirPods. Yeah, we did both. Okay, good. Yeah, watch that episode, man. It's a great episode.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. So Alex would adjust speed. I would start with power, but it depends. If it's going to push you over on 100% power because you're coming from a lower wattage machine, then you're kind of stuck adjusting more than just one of them sometimes. But
yeah, go watch the episode. I think there's a lot of good workflow ideas in there that you might not think of. Well, we're testing on very similar materials, which are materials that we don't cover on the regular show very often. So it's a really specific use case for laser, and that episode provides some really specific answers for that use case.
Like, to me, the answer would just be UV, and I know that's not the question, but like UV, I know UV marks that stuff so well though. Like that white, it's incredible. It's like a really, really nice dark gray.
Yeah, I had to look up because we still have the a little throwback here. So we actually have director's cuts for a couple of those episodes.
We do. I believe that the AirPods episode is one of them. I will check.
Oh yeah, you do.
Right now. It 100% is because I linked
it is.
Somebody. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Somebody today. So I'll actually send that to you on Discord or the LMA. I'll send you a link to that.
Yeah, the laser director's cuts are great. So instead of being cut for YouTube to keep people's attention, it's basically just a raw cut of all of the testing footage that we shot for that episode, with all of the audio between me and Kyle trying to decide what settings to use, when to change them, whether to raise speed or lower power. I point to it all the time. Nobody ever wants to watch it because it gets super technical, but if you just try to follow along, you can start to work out the inner workings of our decision making while trying to find good settings for all these different wavelengths for these really weird materials. That's what made Laser such a great show idea. I really, really like it. And I would encourage anyone listening, if you haven't watched it, LSRD, Laser Everything, in YouTube search, and it'll pull it up. We do all kinds of weird shit: phones, AirPod cases, you name it. Like, we stuck a bunch of stuff we shouldn't have been lasering.
They zapped Alex a couple times. That's actually the director's cut of all the times Alex got fried.
Jimmy frying me with the UV is in there. So yeah, definitely check it out, guys. If you haven't watched Laser, go check it out. It was a really good idea, and of course,
that one specifically. Well, I was going to say that one specifically is one of my favorites because it's you guys going back and forth saying like, all right, well, this is what it looks like. This is what happened. We got depth instead of what we wanted, which was marking. So we don't need more power. We need to like maybe speed it up. And like just the thought process there, which I think a lot of people are afraid to try maybe, but burn and learn, dude.
Well, yeah. I mean, is when AirPod cases are expensive. That was kind of the point of the show. I think at one point we had the tagline like we destroy expensive shit so you don't have to. It was kind of the angle we were taking for it. So go watch Laser.
What else we got?
We're over time officially.
We got Keith. So far, no issues with the 0.05 update on LightBurn. Rotary stuff did get weird for me after 1.7. Going to 2.0, I could enable rotary, but the green light icon wouldn't show up on the rotary icon in the top window.
Really?
Yeah, I actually had that problem too. there was just a lot of weird oddities, right? Like the changeover from the last version of 1.7 over to 2.0. In fairness, right? Like they were changing, I guess, the way they compile the code and everything. So I could see how that would create some weird bugs. They have been picking through them. But if 0.05 is knocking out most of those growing pains, I think a lot of people are going to finally start pulling the trigger on going up from 1.7.
Yeah,
because I know a lot of people rolled back because they just could not hang. You know,
I think most of everything at this point has been addressed with 0.05. So I am looking forward to playing around with it. I was pleased with the release notes that I was reading.
I've got 1.0707 right now. That's I'm still rocking it.
Yeah, M. DeMarco found the lasered playlist. Holy shit, this playlist is amazing. You should see the ones that we didn't even edit. There's 3 or 4 episodes that didn't even get edited because I couldn't justify spending the time on it. So if you want me to edit the rest of the lasered episodes, go sign up for the Laser Master Academy so I can relax enough about keeping my business running to work on stupid shit like that, because that's what I'd love to be doing.
Well, and let's face it too. I mean, we had 3 or 4 cameras going at every given moment while we were recording that. So there's a lot of footage,
hundreds of hours of footage.
So to edit one of those episodes properly takes a lot of time.
It was like 4 weeks of edit.
We're gonna start a GoFundMe for each episode.
I know, right? Like a Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Laser,
hey guys,
season 1, episode 8.
Goal
$5,000. Let's go.
So another question, John. Is there a minimum thickness to stainless steel business cards that can be viable for a solid black mark using a 60-watt Raycus source? I'm struggling with mine, lots of warping and some burn through.
I love stainless steel business cards. I love them. And I've never been able to mark one with a black mark without it warping, without a spreader. Yeah. So get a spreader.
0.8 in a heat sink.
If you don't know what that is, it's like a little clamp. It's got 2 clamps on it, and then you twist a little knob on the ends and it pulls. And that tension keeps the steel card flat while it's being heated. And then when you're done, you have to leave it there until it has cooled down, and then you can release it and it'll come out flat. They sell them. They're expensive for no reason. You can get them from AliExpress or whatever. And they're just really expensive, and you never want to buy it because it's such a dumb, simple thing that you don't want to spend that much money on, but they work. They work really good. So if you don't have one, I would probably recommend getting one.
They're also really good for cutting metal too. Like if you're doing if you're cutting out like if you have silver or gold or a thin piece of steel where you're cutting out like a shape, like something for a necklace piece, they're really good.
Yeah.
Oh,
Kieran saying, please, I got mine for $60. I see that comment. I've never seen them for $60. Maybe they cost $60 now. When I bought mine anyway, I think they were going for closer to like $200.
Keith
but
said
maybe I'm crazy.
Torture rack.
Yeah, it's basically that's what it is. Yeah, it's the rack for sure.
Right. The I've never done an extensive amount of stainless cards with black, but the ones that I did do, I couldn't do like a Z-Mark black. Like that result was just not something I was interested in going for because it's a lot of time, but it's also a lot of heat. And I just did not want to deal with the tuning time around that. So what I ended up doing was I kind of did like a dark anneal mark.
Yep. And
I let it sit for a minute, and then I did the same thing the other direction, like a manual crosshatch. And it looked black from like 70% of angles. And that was kind of my way around that.
I'll take 70.
Yeah, I would say honestly though, like I've had a lot of people like when I tell them, hey, what I've told them is the cost, right? I can do Z-Mark and I can do a portion of it and then you let it sit. So to answer your question, by the way, 0.8, right? That's the one that I use, like the 0.8 mil. They're expensive, number one, But if you're wanting someone who wants a high quality card to make an impression anyways, when you drop a 0.8 mil, like, by the way, if you guys don't know, that's like, I literally just happen to have one sitting here, right? You can see it in my hand and you can hear it drop and hit the counter. The whole thing is they're willing to pay sometimes for that. They may not want a whole bunch of them. A lot of, like, the guy who I made one for, he wanted a QR code that was very easy to read for hit phones, so that he could, you know, take it out and just hold it and people could be like, oh wow. And so I think I charged $20 for that one. But the card itself was $1. I bought it off of Amazon, 0.8 millimeter. I think we actually had it on the buying guide at one point. It's like the O-Bombs guy or whatever his name was.
Yeah.
E-Bomb. Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah, there you go. He had some pretty good ones. And he had some pretty good ones. And that's basically what I did is I did a heat sink on the bottom where basically it was just really cool to the touch, like take the CO2, like the compressed air in a can, and I just sprayed the thing underneath and just kind of set it down. By the way, that is not going to last forever, but it was good enough to do the marks. And
Laser Everything video idea, thermal paste.
Yeah, why not?
I would try that. That would be cool. I want to see if thermal paste will draw enough heat away from something like a metal card while heating it with a laser to keep it.
Or maybe a thermal pad.
Or pad, yeah, like the gooey ones. Yeah, true.
So John's asking, would the laser marking spray on coating, forgot the name, that's the one that we just talked about last week, would be good? A nice black mark on stainless? Yeah.
As long as the cards aren't coated in like that clear coat bullshit that a lot of steels are coated in. A great example of that, which I don't know if they've addressed yet or not. I need to email Jackie. I keep thinking I'm going to ask her and then I keep not doing it. But a good one is right now the stainless tumblers on Johnson Plastics Plus are all like plasta dipped in like a clear final coat of non-metal material, but they look like stainless tumblers, and that absolutely 100% interferes with the chemical reaction required to get titanium dioxide to work. So you have to keep an eye out for that. I'm pretty sure the cheap Amazon stainless cards are not going to come with that on it. They're pretty much just stamped steel, but you should probably order a couple before you order a couple hundred.
Yeah, he said they're not coated.
Make sure that they are not coated. Otherwise, that should work great. Yeah, Brilliance laser inks, LBT, whatever you got, that should get the job done for sure.
Yeah, and the other thing is, if you are, so here's another idea for you. The way I did this guy's card, and when I had someone who ordered 10 of a card before, what I did was I did one part of the card. So for example, like let's just say it was this gutter service, right? Basically you could just do Patriot gutter service text, right? And just leave your jig set up and then leave it alone and come back to that. And then the next day, put it in place, make sure that everything is lined up, and then do the house, right?
Yeah.
Give it a little bit and then do the text. And so when you do that, you avoid the warping. It's a little more labor intensive. It's not even really labor intensive. It's just timing, right? So it's just the whole thing is warpage is from heat. And so how can you dissipate heat the cheapest way if you have the time? And especially because you said you're making them for your friends, I think that would be a really easy way to get that really, really nice mark and have to avoid messing with the titanium dioxide if you don't want to, or if you don't already know how. So just a thought.
Keith is saying we should go full liquid nitrogen cooled, like super PC overclocking nerds. I would do that, except getting a black mark requires you to generate some heat on the surface of the card. That reaction happens because of the heat being transferred to the steel. So if you wick that heat away so fast that it can't build up to cause that reaction and create that oxide layer, then you're not going to get the oxide layer. It might be too cold. I think there is like a too cold.
I was thinking, even though like the fiber wavelength will pass through water, I'd be afraid that the frost that you're inevitably going to build up on the surface of the card would be a problem.
True, that may block.
Even though it's water,
it would diffract. Yeah, it'd have diffract.
If anything, you could put the card on a heat sink and then let the fins of the heat sink sit in a shallow puddle of maybe like liquid.
Oh yeah, the fins would be good, but you see, okay, so listen to all the shit. You're like, okay, so what if we get this chemical that can hurt you with chemical burns because it's so cold? Then we devise how about you just take your fucking time, do one.
I built a retro brighter. You don't talk about chemical burns, dude. I have learned so many hard lessons with 12% hydrogen peroxide. I think those are the worst. I don't think that the liquid nitrogen could do anything to me that would be worse than that. So
I would like for you to just have a reel set up that says like R.I.P. Alex, and it's just like In the Arms of the Angel playing in the background.
yeah, if you want season 2 of Lasered where we dip heat sinks into liquid cooled nitrogen to cool our black marks, you know what to do. masters.lasereverything.net. Do we have anything else, Kyle, before we wrap up the show for tonight?
Jesus.
Laura said, "Hi, Kyle. So nice to see your actual smiling face."
Yeah,
Oh,
no
you
effort.
You're
put 'em.
gonna
You
be
put 'em.
seeing my new shop soonish,
Yay.
Ooh.
where you'll see more of my smiling face.
Cool.
That actually brings us back to Granny Cams. So Kyle's new channel
No.
Grannycams/facebook.io.
with Kyle lasering with like a pig mask in the background.
No.
Oh, Kyle. That's a large laser bath you got there.
Oh my god.
Let's talk about your pasties.
Huge thanks to everyone who joined us live tonight in chat. I love having you guys here. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Only Grams, John, Jesus. I love seeing you guys show up every week. It is super inspiring and makes me want to continue doing the show when everything else except for shorts seems to be performing poorly. Having you guys come week after week definitely makes me want to continue doing the Laser Source podcast. It's never been on the chopping block because I love hanging out with you guys. So thanks for being here live. If you're here live, we'll take one more beat to appreciate Johnson Plastics Plus, again, our episode sponsor and longtime supporter of the engraving community. You guys rock. So thank you for supporting the show. A couple quick shout outs before we wrap. Kyle's Etsy shop is absolutely packed with infinite patterns. These are patterns that you can engrave at any scale and they repeat infinitely, which is amazing. So if you're trying to do any kind of like textured, tiled, repeating pattern on something, they're just gorgeous. Kyle's put a ton of effort into them. He's even published episodes on this very channel teaching people how to do exactly what he did to make those patterns. So he's giving it all away. Let's show some support to Kyle. Go check out his Etsy shop. There is a automatic 15% off with code Laser Everything, and we have an affiliate link that helps support the show. So you can support us and Kyle at the same time by clicking that link and hang over to Kyle's Etsy shop to make sure you check out those. Also, there is a link down in the description to book Matt for business consulting sessions. So if you're wondering about how to get your small business off the ground,
Starting a cam show.
Start a new cam show, maybe what new opportunities are available to you at your local schools or other institutions. Maybe you want to hold a cam show at your local schools or other institutions. Matt's the guy to talk to about that. He's well experienced in all those matters, and he's got a link to book those sessions down in the description, so you guys can
Or if
support.
you just want to discuss our shared trauma from watching this episode.
Sure, that's great. Yeah, we love that. Free, well, it's not free, but therapy. And if you don't know it, guys, Anthony couldn't be here tonight. You probably noticed that he was not here in chat. He's having a really busy evening, but I don't want to leave him out. If you don't have Beam It Up Laser Tape, what are you doing? It's the best. Stuff. It's the best laser masking tape in like the whole entire world. Supports our buddy Anthony, good friend of the show, sometimes co-host. If you want to check out some of that, it's perfect. It's the perfect laser masking tape, and you're really going to like it. I think you're going to order a lot of it. You can find that over at BeamItUpLaserTape.com. Final quick recap, big announcements, guys. These are, final reminders for the night. Get your roast beef submissions in. The live show airs Tuesday, December 23rd. I'd like to see submissions by the 21st. You can find the links to submit those on either our Discord server in the roast beef category. You can drop a post there. Or if you're a member of the LMA, in the updates you're such a piece of shit. In the updates section, you can drop a response to that post as well with a picture and some details about your setup so we can roast your setups on the 23rd. That's going to be our holiday celebration this year. Remember, I want to see everything, not just the good ones, the messy ones, the ones that are on fire, all of it. So drop your laser setup there so we can roast it on December 23rd. The ultimate guide to laser processing is going supporter only soon. So if you haven't already signed up for the LMA, do it. You guys can follow along with new episode releases. I am finishing that series. I will finish that series. I will continue to work on that series until it's done because I think it's important. But in order to get it produced, we really need to see a little more support from the community. We are entirely community funded with the rare exception of a sponsorship here or there from JP Plus for the podcast. So I can't spend the amount of time that requires me to spend on it without the support from you guys. I really want to finish it because I have big plans for that series. So make sure you check that out. If you don't want to sign up for the LMA because that seems really complicated, don't forget there are links to our Patreon and Coffee down below. Don't forget to subscribe, smash the like button, leave a review if you're listening, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcasts. If there's a review button, hit that, drop us 5 stars, let people know why you like the show. It goes a long way in helping us out too. I think that's all I've got. Today was really smooth. Did you guys like having show notes? That was fun, right? That was cool. I'm gonna try to do that more often.
I didn't know you usually have a plan. I thought this just all got pulled out of your rectum.
It usually does. Indeed. Now the only thing getting pulled out of my rectum is on your mom's
There it is.
cam
Nice.
shows. Yeah.
And that's a great way to just
Granny
wrap
cams.
it up.
And on that note, smash the like button.
And then
leave a
show us your
5-star
beef.
review on Apple Podcasts.
No, that's right. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss another live stream from Matt's mom. Right here on Laser Everything.
Oh,
I think that's all I've got, guys. Thank you so much for being with us for this episode, and we will see you in the next one.
Oh, God.
I even